Greetings. Today is September the 5th of 2025. In a recent video, I mentioned buying a video camera, Panasonic PV700, PV500, 700, with my college graduation money. And the guy that sold it to me at Sears in the local mall, and that Sears has been turned into a parking lot now. The mall is still there, but Sears at one end and JCPenney at the other were both flattened. Makes me mad. And his advice, because I was asking, can it do time lapse? Can it do stop motion? Can it do this? I had various things I wanted to accomplish with this, and he said, my best advice to you is play with it. So I did. I tried to do stop motion, so I grabbed the Kenner AT-AT from the 80s out of the closet and had it, sort of walking through the frame and shooting whatever. But I got really, really ambitious on this time-lapse shot, and God forbid I ever find this on VHS and convert it, because I decided not only would the AT-AT be good for stop motion because of the incremental, joints on the legs, you could really see where you'd clicked at one time. I also had the incredible crash dummies by Tyco having a head-on collision in front of the AT-AT and flying through their windshields and hitting each other and their body parts flying off. And and did I mention I was incrementally zooming as I was animating each frame? Yeah, I bit off way more than I could chew, and it looked like crap. But if I find it, I'll put it on a video someday. But that sort of thing, taking the 1992 video camera and my toy collection and kind of putting the two together, I started having this idea that I wanted to recreate Star Wars with toys. And I conceived of it as an insurance video with style. Instead of just, panning along my closet and saying this is on this shelf and this is on this shelf, that I would put them in the scenes together like they should be to retell the story. And it kept growing and it kept growing and kept growing. And I shelved it for a little while. And my first wife and I got married, and we lived in an apartment, and then we lived in a house, and I finally got to unbox all my collection down in the basement. And I was watching a George Pal movie one day. This is sometime in January of '95. And people had seen the incomplete version of my toy video, which I dubbed "Whoever Dies with the Most Toys Wins." And I would send a copy to this pen pal and send a copy to this pen pal, and Gus Lopez had a copy and different stuff. And I would get feedback from people and critique from people. David West Reynolds told me that one of his favorite shots was an interpolated scene that I did with the Banthas, the Sand People riding the Banthas single file, and then the Sand Troopers making the mistake of riding them side by side. He picked up on that little attention to detail in my interpolated scene, and he really liked it. And so this day in January 1995, I'm watching on A&E some George Pal movie. I want to say it was When Worlds Collide. I'd have to really look that up. And I said, that does it. There's a lot of miniature work. And I said, that does it. I'm finishing Whoever Dies with the Most Toys Wins. And I locked myself in the basement for a couple of days and finished from where I'd left off to the Death Star exploding and them landing and having the medallion ceremony. And so I completed that. Shortly after that, it snowed, and it was snow that remained powdery for days. And so I could get a bug crawling up my leg. I could put the figures in the snow and pick up a handful of it and sift it through my fingers, and it looked like miniature snowflakes falling on them. It was great. So, but we were snowed in up on a hill for days and days and days. And I would just, to stay, keep from going stir crazy, getting cabin fever, I would plan the next scene I was going to shoot, gather the toys for it, charge the camera battery, and then go out and shoot. Come back in, go out and shoot until the battery died, rinse and repeat. So there is some Hoth footage shot, and for that I didn't stick to just the toys from the 70s. But the other day, I was shifting some boxes around, and I spotted this. I said, oh my God, I know what that is. 1988, my niece and nephew, the twins, were born. And about 22 months later, my other nephew was born. And so there were always their toys around the house. And one day I saw this woolly mammoth. And I said, my God, that's a 6 POA elephant covered in long brown fur. That's the beginnings of a bantha. So I believe these two are actually the ones they had as kids, because the wire in the snout is coming out on that one. So I bought a couple for myself. I bought this sponge, or this is what remains of what I bought. And I made what's in this shoebox. So here are the banthas that I made in the early 90s. We'll say 92. So obviously I cut off the trunk and the tusks. I cut the hatch for the figure's legs to go in. I left the tail alone. And for the horns of the banthas, I took, oh, there's a rubber band stuck to him. I took coat hanger wire, a big brass coat hanger, and I skewered their heads and then bent the wire into the shape of the horns, and then I pushed the sponge down over the wire and then trimmed it with a pair of scissors to make the horn shapes. So, and I made a pair of banthas. Crude, but effective. And the saddlebags are something, oh, that's got something inside of it. Coins or something inside. Oh, wow. Hang on, I'm discovering some damage from storage there. I wonder, so these little brown velvety drawstring bags, I don't remember where I got those. They might have come with an aftershave that I wore at the time. I don't wear aftershave anymore. They're knotted too tightly for me to see what those are. I wonder if those coins, I used to have this Under the Sea game that had actual coins that were magnetic and everything. I wonder if that's what's in there. Seems like that's what I used. And then this was some sort of chamois cloth or something of Dad's. So I made, I'm sorry, I'm putting it on the Mammoth instead of on the Bantha. So I made one with a pack roll and one with saddlebags. And those were my mounts. I also made legs to hang over the side from a broken G.I. Joe figure. You remember the G.I. Joe hang gliders that you would throw and the rubber band would snap and the figure would just fall off? Yeah, I went through a couple of those because of the figure getting lost. And then one day found a figure out in the field behind my parents' house. So yeah, I'm thinking this is the legs of a grunt that I sanded down and repainted. Anyway, so you can see the remnants of that rubber band that I had to flake off because it's gone solid now. But that was in there as well. And I would put those over the sides so that the sand person appeared to have legs still. Did the same thing for the sand trooper, and I think those are with a sand trooper at the moment. And I even made a couple of capes for sand people out of cloth so that they would like fold correctly when they were in there instead of messing up the old vinyl capes. It looks like that was an experiment that died aborting. But so this is just a couple of minutes worth of memories from Whoever Dives with the Most Toys Wins. But as soon as I found these guys, I said, I've got to shoot a video about this. Does this interest you guys? Would anybody want me to do a whole series on the making of Whoever Dives with the Most Toys Wins, which I finished January 95, 30 years ago. I made my insurance video with style. And as soon as I saw these guys, I almost immediately had to leave for work. And at work, I was like, oh, I could tell this story from I could find this custom figure. Oh, I know where this is. Oh, hey, that. And I mean, it was like I filled a page with potential ideas for videos. So if anybody wants to hear more about the making of Whoever Dives with the Most Toys Wins, let me know in the comments below. And that's a video series that I might enjoy putting together for you. I have plans, and I've done it in past videos, where I took the footage, which was shot in square format, 3x4 was the only way that video camera in 92 could shoot. And I recropped it down to 16:9. So I made it widescreen. In some of the Toyaholic videos, there's a few clips from Whoever Dives with the Most Toys Wins. So Anyway, if that interests you, let me know, and this will either be just yet another Toyaholic video, or it could be the beginning of a new series of videos on how I made my insurance video with style 3 decades ago. Thanks for watching.